Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of interviewing my dad. We appreciate you all for tuning in. This is the Beautifully Benoit channel. My name is Amber, and this is my father,
Louis.
Oh, good job.
Thank you.
And
I practice saying my name.
And in part 1, we just talked about co-parenting, introducing my father, things of that nature. And for this video, we're gonna dive into, what he has experienced in this past year. Well, actually all your life, but what we found out this past year. Mm-hmm. And so I'll start with growing up. I was told that you were adopted, which is why we didn't have a daddy side of the family. And so all of my life, I've grown up with mommy's side of the family and things of that, and not even really diving into it or thinking about it. And so this past year, we have found a whole new world of daddy's side of the family. So we can start from just your upbringing until, I'm not saying to go to every year of your life, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can say. Yeah,
okay.
I can condense it.
Thank you so much. So this is the Louis Thompson story.
Hi. I was born March 2nd, 1960, 11:04 a.m. in Harlem Hospital. My first memory is living at 153 West on 36th Street. We moved from that apartment to this one bedroom it was a studio at 123 West on 36th Street, where we shared the bathroom. I remember that. I was very young then. This had to be between 60 and 65. 1965, we moved from 136th Street to 139th Street, 60 West on 139th Street. My parents were George Leonard Thompson and Emily Elizabeth Thompson. George Thompson was born in 1916 and Emily was born 1923. Wow. So that'll make her 100 years today. He went by Tommy. He did not go by George. Okay. That was his legal name was George, but everyone called him Tommy. And she was called Lee. Mm-hmm. So that was it. So those were my parents. I always thought they were always older than all my friends' parents. And I thought that was weird, but I was like, oh, whatever.
But it is what it is, right?
It is what it is. And so that was my life until July 4th, 1974, when my father died of cancer. He was in a hospice. Mm-hmm. Now that I realize it wasn't a hospital, it was a hospice in the Bronx. It's Mount Calvary, I think it's called. Mm-hmm. And I remember going visiting him, and every time we went, there was a different man in his room. His roommate was different. Mm-hmm. And looking back, that's because they went to God.
Away,
yeah.
Right.
And so last time I saw him was July 2nd, 1974. And we were, July 4th, we were getting up, ready to go to visit him. And after that, I was going to go to the Shea Stadium to see the Mets play doubleheader with the Philadelphia Phillies. Wow. They had a doubleheader that day, so I was looking forward to that. Right. I mean, I want to see Dad, but I was really looking forward to the baseball game. And then I remember we didn't have a phone. The neighbor upstairs had a phone, and the phone rang because it was summer and the doors were open. And it rang, and before my mother went upstairs, she said under her breath, not for me to hear, but I heard it, "He's gone." Mm-hmm. That was the wording she said. And not knowing what she was talking about, but she had a feeling. So went upstairs and came back down, and she told me her dad had passed away. Wow. And that's when the world started to fall apart a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. And so you said that was July 4th,
That was 1974. I was 14 years old. 14 years old. Just going into high school.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I hadn't started high school.
You were going to your 9th grade?
I was going to 9th grade. Yep.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And so once your father passed, mm-hmm. I guess after the funeral service and...
Yeah, after the funeral service, everything died down. Everyone went home. My mother... Now looking back, I was 14 years old. I wasn't that bright. I didn't notice, but she started to deteriorate mentally. Okay. And by November, she was pretty much not able to function.
So what were you seeing that you say now she was deteriorating?
She was talking to people that weren't there. Okay. She was asking where Tommy was, not remembering the funeral.
Yeah.
Not really remembering who I was most of the time. And I was just trying to survive. I honestly don't remember the time after the funeral till they institutionalized or what I did. I don't remember. It's just a blur. But I didn't go to school. I knew that. I didn't go to school for that time frame.
So when did they institutionalize her?
About November of
1974.
1974.
Okay.
And she went to this hospital in Roosevelt Island. Now it's all fancy, but before then it was assisted living, and it was psychiatric ward over there.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember taking the 59th Street Bridge over to see her.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And once she was institutionalized, what happened with you? Because you were 14.
Yeah, I was 14. I went to a friend's house, a friend of the family. His name was Uncle John. You know, back then our parents' friends were always uncle and auntie. We never called him by their first name. So even though he wasn't really an uncle, but he was Uncle Johnny.
Yeah, for sure.
He had 5 kids, but his kids were all grown. The closest one to me, her name was Michelle. She was 10 years older than me. So she was 20 something, yeah. And I stayed with them for about a month and a half until the incident with the gun. So I didn't. I had to leave. Well, what happened was he had 2 boys. He had more than 2 boys. But Uncle Johnny came in at every time it was 12 o'clock, and it was Friday. And every Friday he'd get paid. He'd go gambling, and he'd be drunk time to get home. He wasn't abusive drunk, but he was drunk.
Right.
So he'd just stagger home and go lay down. This day he staggers by the kitchen. He looks. He sees me. He goes back. He goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Why are you here?" I said, "Shawnee and Leonard are in the room." He goes, "Oh, okay." So he walks by his bedroom. He goes to his bedroom. I'm still in the kitchen. I see him walk by with a 30-30 carbine. Now, he's a World War II veteran. Back then, all the World War II veterans were allowed to bring their guns home. So he had a 45 sidearm and a 30-30 carbine and something else. I don't remember. Anyway, so he walks by with a gun, and I went, uh-oh, this is not going to be good. Then I heard the door kick open, and I heard one shot. And I thought, oh, my God, he's killed somebody.
Yeah.
But then I peeked my head around the corner, and I saw all 4 of them before the kids were running out the door, as fast as they could.
Right.
And then Uncle Johnny comes and goes, "Go to bed, boy." And I remember going and laying down, knocking the plaster off the bed, and laying in the bed looking up and seeing a hole in the ceiling. Because we were on the top floor, so looking into a hole in the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then I went through. I didn't see Johnny or Leonard for about 2 weeks. And then when they did come back, they took his guns. They hit him. They took him away because it was they were alcohol and guns don't mix.
They don't mix.
Yeah, so they weren't happy with that. So after that, another friend of the family, who was Jessie, elderly lady, so she had to be in her 80s. She said, "You can't stay there. Come on, you come down with me." So I stayed. So I moved down to 16th Street. Now, in Harlem, we say 16th Street, we mean 116th, because no one says 116th.
Right.
Everyone says 39th, 40th.
Yeah.
This was actual 16th Street.
Right.
Yeah. So I moved down near the Village, and so I stayed with her until she hurt herself maybe a year and a half or so after I stayed with her. She fell and hurt her knees. She couldn't take care of me anymore. Mind you, I was basically take care of myself.
Yeah.
At that point.
So this is like 14, 15.
14, 15, 16. So she couldn't take care of me anymore, and then I was awarded the state. I had to be awarded the state until 18. So
you went into foster care.
So I went to foster care. But before that, I found out a shocking detail. She had my birth certificate, so she said, "Let's go downtown and see if we can get some money for you, because your dad was a veteran." So I got the money. I got the paperwork, went downtown. That's when, because you don't look at your birth certificate that often.
Right.
And I noticed that it said Jones, but it was a race, and Thompson was handwritten on it. That they used this paper to put me through school, all the way through school. No one questioned it.
Wow.
But I went down to get money from my father, and the woman said, "No, this has been altered. She took the number off the top and came back, and that's the first time I saw Louis Calvin Jones.
Wow.
And I didn't know who the hell that was.
Yeah.
And it was March 2nd, and mother's name Betty Jones, and 4 children prior to his birth, and 108 West 137th Street. All these numbers meant nothing to me. All these people meant nothing to me. And I turned to Jessie and said, "What is this about?" And she said, oh, your dad had an affair with this lady. She had a lot of kids. So, and your mother couldn't have any children, so he brought you home and they raised you as a son. That's what she told me. And I went, okay, what can I say? I went, all right.
Yeah.
It sounds
and
feasible.
This is what, 15, 16?
15, yeah, 15, yeah. So, and I went, okay. I remember going back and trying to talk to Emily about it, but either she didn't want to talk about it or she acted like she didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get anything out of her.
Wow.
So that was that.
That was that.
That was that. So that was a weird turn of events.
Yeah.
But then I didn't think about it again until I had my own problems. I didn't think about it again until I was trying to get a driver's license, and then I tried to find it again. It didn't work. Son.
That was crazy.
Yeah. And so I had to get my name changed illegally to Louis Thompson.
Right.
Because my birth certificate said Jones. I had nothing in Jones.
Right.
So I got it done. So I changed my name in 1980 to Thompson.
1980 to Thompson.
Yeah, Thompson. Yep.
Because that was your dad's last name.
And
that was your last name all your life.
Yeah, it was my name all my life, and I didn't know anything about Jones. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was that.
Okay.
So.
And so once you change your name and you live life.
Yeah, live life.
Like when did you stop looking for Betty?
Well, what happened was when I went to get my license, when I changed my name, I said, let me give it a shot. So I went to 108 West 137th Street, and that building, her last address, excuse me, it was condemned. But I asked people around the neighborhood, you know Betty? Oh, we think we know, but we haven't seen her for years. She had a lot of kids, and she's no longer around. I said, okay, well, that was that. So there was no internet, nothing like that. I didn't have any money for a private detective or anything like that. So I just said, oh, well, that's it.
Did what you could do.
Yeah, so I just left it alone and moved on.
And so all your life you knew that you were adopted. Is that what you thought happened? You thought that your father
had
taken you from your mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought that George was my father.
Got you.
But he just had to take me away because this woman had too many kids. And he was afraid I wasn't going to be taken care of. That sounded feasible.
Yeah.
So I went, okay, I'll go with that. Even though there was no father's name on the birth certificate.
Wow. So at what point did you realize he wasn't your actual father?
Fast forward to 2021.
Okay.
Late 2020, I had gotten a kit, an Ancestry.com kit that you put your specimen in and send it in for just like DNA testing.
Yeah.
As a lark, I got it. I threw it in the drawer. I didn't touch it for months and months, and then we were moving, and I saw it again. And I went, what the heck? So it was $90. I think it was a special. Mm-hmm. So I put it in. I sent it in, and just for laughs. And then I got a result back after a month, and it said I was 98% African. So I said, "Thank you, Jesus." I was hoping that I came up with that. It was it's $90 well spent. I said because I didn't know I was 98% African.
Obviously.
Yeah. So I said, oh, well, that's that. And then about 2 weeks later, I got another note from them saying that we have located, because they put it in a database and they go through all the whatever their magic, whatever we do. And I got a note saying that we have a match for you as a full cousin. You have a match, first cousin. Mm-hmm. Which I was like, first cousin? That's weird because I don't have any family that I know about on this side. And first cousin basically means you share a grandparent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the first cousin. Not a second cousin or third or second removed, which I don't know what that means anyway. And so I was like, all right, and they gave me an email, but it was a kind of an email only for Ancestry.com, like indirectly. So I typed them, hi, my name is Louis Thompson, I was born this day, blah, blah, blah. And I sent it. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't hear anything back for, a month. And then Christine, my wife, says, people don't look at their Ancestry.com like they look at Facebook. Yeah. So they look at it twice a month or whatever. So finally I did get a receipt back. I received a note back, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it said something like, hi, I'm not your cousin, I'm your brother. Your sister Wanda's been looking for you since 1979. Wow. If you want more information, here's my phone number, and it was a California phone number. And I stared at it for a bit, and then
you told me.
Yeah.
Because you had called me and you're like, somebody wrote me. And then I tried to create an Ancestry because I'm like, I don't know if this is a psycho. I don't know what's going on. I tried to create it. It wouldn't go through for some reason. But I put you and mommy's name, and it did come up like Lammy on one of the things. But I'm like, and I looked, and then I went on Facebook, and I'm like, I saw his name come up, and I'm like, this is the guy that wrote Daddy, but he hasn't wrote him in a little while. So I don't know if he's real or if he's fake or what's going on. So.
Yep. So that was the beginning of a very strange odyssey journey.
Yeah.
So come to find out, fast forward, I have I'm one of 8 children from 4 different fathers. So I have 6 half brothers and sisters and 1 full sister, which is Wanda.
Yeah.
Wanda Welcome, basically, which is her last name goes on. My father's name was Lewis Welcome.
So he would have been the Welcome Junior.
I'm a junior. Yeah, that was so. And apparently I was, well, the word is, and this is what my siblings say, when Betty had children,
Which is his mother.
My mother, yeah, she'd have a kid, she would farm out the rest of the other kids out to godparents and friends, and while she went to the hospital to have the other child. And so when she did that, my sister Violet's behind me. When she was having Violet, she sent all the kids to the godparents' house. And then when the baby's born, she'd come home and then she'd get everyone back. But when she went to get me, the woman was not there. She had moved. So I disappeared. So she never saw me again.
And you were what age?
I had to be, I'm 2 years older than
Violet,
so I had to be 2.
And and she didn't go to the police because of like fear.
Well, there was, again, this is all hearsay and conjecture, because everyone that's involved was too young or they passed away.
Right.
So the word was that the woman contacted Betty and told her that if you say anything, I will tell the cops that you're getting public assistance, which is welfare, what they call the public assistance back then, while still working. So she was working, she was hustling. Okay. She was working and getting public assistance. And she was afraid that she'd lose the rest of the kids, so she didn't say anything. That's the word.
Yeah.
Again, I have no way of, proving that.
So basically, the woman who took you, we don't know. This is what they're being told, but the woman who took you then sold you?
Don't know. Sold, gave away, put me on layaway. I don't know. I just don't know. I have no clue.
We don't know how you ended up with...
I don't know how I ended up with George and Emily. No idea. That's the gap. That's like the missing link. I don't know. And the weird thing is that the kids, my brothers and sisters, grew up on 138th Street. Right. I grew up on 139th Street. Yeah. 1 block away. Not even avenues. 1 block. They went to St. Mark's Catholic school. I went to PS 100 public school, which is right down the block. Yeah. 5th Avenue, and they were theirs between 5th and Lenox. And back then, they didn't let the Catholic school and the Catholic school and the public school kids mix. So they would let the Catholic school kids out half an hour early. So time I got out, they were all gone. Yeah. And Betty was very strict about them not running the streets. Yeah. So they were home, and I just never got to see them. I do remember my dear friend Wallace, who's passed away in 2018, really good guy. He told me, I'd known Wallace since kindergarten, so 12th grade. And he asked me about when I was 8. I remember he said, "Lois, you got a brother, sister?" I said, sister? I said, "No, you know that. I don't have a sister, Wallace." He said, "Well, there's a girl around the corner that looks just like you." And I went, whatever. So about a couple of weeks later, I'm around the block, and it was this candy store named Miss Susie, who everyone went to. And she was hanging outside, and I looked at her, and I went, "Yeah, she does look like me." I saw a little girl. Well, I was 8, she was 10. And I looked, and I said, "Yeah, she kind of looks like me." But then as an 8-year-old, you have the attention span of a flea, so you just went, whatever. And I was going to walk up to her because I'm 8, she's 10, she's a grown woman to me. Yeah. You know? So I just went, But then later on when I met Wanda, or I spoke to her, she sent me a picture of herself when she was a little girl, and I said, "Yeah, I was the one." So
that's so crazy.
Yeah, it's like sliding doors.
Yeah.
Another thing was ironic was that, remember I said I went to 137th Street. 1980. Yeah. asked questions. They said they didn't know anything. About a couple of months later, Wanda and Betty were there because they had gone to church, and Wanda remembers someone walked up to Betty and said, there was a young man looking for you guys, a few months back. And Wanda was very excited. Oh, maybe it's Louis. And she turned to Betty and she said Betty's face was less than enthusiastic about it being me. And she always thought that was strange. That she was not, oh my God, yeah, it could be. She just got very quiet. Yeah. And didn't say anything, which is...
So like what was going through her mind?
Yeah, it was going through her mind. What's going on?
Yeah.
So it just adds to speculation. When you don't have facts, your imagination
so many
fills
stories. It does.
Fills in the gaps.
And so, okay, you got the message, and then you said that you have siblings, and after that, what was the first phone call like?
Well, I was talking to Percy, and we had a chat. He was telling me about. He said, "Do you really want to know?" I remember that. Do you want to know what's going on? I said, yeah, please tell me. So he ran down the idea that Betty had always kept me in the loop. They knew about me, which was ironic.
Yeah.
They all knew about me. She always kept Louis in her prayers. And the kids that were born, there were 4 siblings born before me. And they all not remembered me, but knew about me. Yeah. And the siblings that were born after me, who were I was gone before they were born. Yeah. They knew about me.
Yeah.
They all they knew about me. So they all knew about me. I had no idea about them.
Obviously.
Yeah. So Twala, who's my second oldest brother, unfortunately, Cooge, he's the oldest. He passed away on May 17th last year. So I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I did have a nice chat with him over the phone about 10 days before he died. And we talked about stuff, but he just couldn't give me too much information. But Twala said he remembers changing my diaper. He does remember that. But there are a lot of questions and a lot of things just don't make sense.
Yeah, that we probably won't
ever have answers to. Like I'm questioning, where did the birth certificate come from?
Yeah.
Kidnapped kids do not have birth certificates.
Right.
Real
birth certificates.
Yeah, real birth certificate, and it was altered, but it was still a real birth certificate.
Yeah.
If you steal some kid, why would you stay in the same neighborhood? I mean, literally around the corner from where he came from. Why would you stay there?
Yeah.
You would go, even if she went to the Bronx or Brooklyn, but she stayed right there.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre. Well, she stayed. I stayed. I don't know where she went.
Right.
And how did George and Emily get me?
Yeah. How did they get you?
It's just
a mystery
bizarre.
At this point.
Wanda said she's looking for me since 79. Our dad died 79, and he was 20 years older than Betty, so he was an older gentleman. And he lived in Long Island with his brother, and he worked for the Long Island Railroad. And he asked about me. He'd asked about me, even though his name was not on my birth certificate. His name was on Wanda's birth certificate, but not mine.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, that's why his name. See, when you don't know, you have to
make up things up. Right? So we don't want to make up nothing. We just don't know.
Yeah.
But after meeting with Percy, which would be my uncle, after meeting with him, you all began to have like monthly chats.
Yeah, we have Zoom meetings, which is nice. And the thing is, Percy said we have not spoken as a family since we lost Betty in 2012, and I don't think they've been together as a family since then.
Yeah.
So this has been a minute.
So they all, came together and had monthly chats, and then worked out a plan for my father to come to the U.S. to meet everyone.
Yep.
And so this past December, we all met up in Atlanta.
Yep.
And we all, went to this beautiful Airbnb, by the way. But we all met up the week of Christmas. And how did you feel finally like seeing them face to face? Like, yes, you've been talking to them for a whole year at this point, so it's not like they're new people, but like it was face to face. It wasn't over the phone this time around.
Yeah, it was surreal. I mean, it was it's something that I'd never experienced before. I'm 62 years old, and I've never been in a room with people who
your family
were family, except for my kids. But I'm talking about family, people who are older than I am, or who are, were the same age, or close to the same age. It's just weird. I remember sitting back and just, I'm a watcher anyway, and don't like to be center of attention. The great thing about the whole interaction is that it didn't dwell on me.
Yeah.
It became just a
family gathering. Yeah.
I mean, after you do initial hellos, but I think that attributes to the fact that we were talking on Zoom for all those
and
months.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, coming from an outside in, because stranger danger. We're New Yorkers, and I don't know nobody, and I'm like, they could be crazy for all we know. But going there, they were like super nice, super friendly. I met a few cousins who were super nice and sweet, aunts, uncles, and I watched my father, because I do understand that it's a dynamic where you have this family that you didn't know about, and how they're talking about their experiences and what was life like growing up, and he didn't have any of those experiences with them. So I'm watching him from that point of view. Like, I could see the moments where he got quiet and he was just watching and listening, and I'm like, I wouldn't know how to respond to hearing all the stories that they have, especially of their mom and stuff, and you not being able to experience that. But what I got from this whole experience was like, you brought a family back together. And although you didn't experience life with them, like, this is a new part of life. Right? This is an exciting part of life. You're getting to interact with people that you've never met before, but now you can say we are your family. First and foremost. But now I have a daddy side of the family.
Which is great.
It is great. And they all live in different states and stuff. So it gives you an opportunity also to travel and meet other people and stuff like that. Like, I think that it's crazy. It's definitely like one of those crazy things to hear the story. But then to see it all come together, it's like, wow, like, I was happy for you, because I do feel like, and me and you've had countless conversations, just about like how your emotional state and how you feel and stuff like that, and feeling out of place and moving a lot, and what that translates to me. Like, for me, it was like, you're trying to find your footing or find who you are, or because you didn't know. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's a great analogy, because I think with just running and trying to, and not knowing where you come from, or it affects you subconsciously, and just not knowing what's going on. Now I know, and I have to stop myself from, like you said, trying to speculate. There are questions that I'll never have answers for, and I have to accept that and move on and just be grateful for what I have. We had a nice dinner with Twala and his family and my oldest brother yesterday. Last night. That was very nice. That's the last one I'm going to see before I go. No, I'm going to see Wanda. I'm going to see Wanda tomorrow. But it's great. It's been a great experience. Looking at Wanda and seeing that's my full sister, and you can see similarities.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and from the eyes to the big feet to the moles on the face. So it's a good thing. Yeah. And I'm just gonna have to, like you said, leave it alone. The unknown parts of it is just gonna. Yeah,
because I think that you can quickly get consumed. And I'm not saying you specifically. I'm saying period. You can quickly get consumed with the answers that you don't have. And I think that for so long you've been searching for answers, and now that you finally have some, I think we have to stick with the ones we have, because I don't want you to feel lost again.
No, I don't want to do that. But things that stick in my craw, like there are no photographs of me. As a child. As a baby. And there are photographs of everyone else. I mean, Twala has a photograph when he's small. Cooge, who passed away, he has a photograph.
All of them.
John has when he's a small baby. And there's no photographs of me, and I'm like, well, you start to think, well, why weren't in there? Not one. Which is weird. But then you just gotta let it go.
You can't get caught in that.
There we go.
Because we don't have the answers.
You get down that rabbit hole, so you just leave it alone.
Do you think that? I'm gonna just throw therapy into this real quick. Do you feel like with this new information and new everything that therapy would be an important part of this process?
This is not what we're doing now?
No, this is not therapy. This is a conversation.
I
mean, it can be therapeutic, but I am not a therapist.
Oh, you're not a therapist. Okay.
I mean, unless
yeah, I think that might be in the cards in the future. I was waiting until I got. I wanted to meet everyone and get that experience first, and then, yeah, I think there definitely is a therapeutic session in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need just to talk to someone that's removed from everything, and just talk to them about it, because there's some not resentment, but some disappointments that I didn't get to grow up with them. And no matter, they're great people, but they're 60 years I'll never get back. And that's another thing I have to just deal with.
Yeah.
They all went to private school, Rice University. The boys went to Rice High School, and I went to PS 100. It's not that I'm not bitter or anything, but it's just, that's the fact. That's what happened. I didn't have a bad life. I'm not saying I had a bad life. I had wonderful kids and a great ex-wife and a great wife, but.
There's something that you missed.
What could have been?
Yeah.
What could have been?
I would have never. If you would have, you wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have been your daughter.
Well, you might look different. No, but the thing is that I wouldn't have never left for Australia if I'd known I had. Because Betty died in 2012, and I left 2009. So it's 3 years I could have been with her.
But no, that's not true, because you didn't know.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't know. That's what I'm saying. If I had known, I wouldn't have left.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have left. So that's just, sliding doors.
Yeah. And I think that, whenever you do have your therapy session, I think that will be helpful in processing everything. Because while this is exciting and this is great, it's still a lot at the end of the day. It is 60 years worth of your life that there's a whole another experience that you could have had. Yeah. But I do think that, while we have a lot of questions and we don't know what really happened or, how life was supposed to be for you, I think that this moment in time, it's like it's not a new start, but it's like a new chapter.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a new chapter, and I think that we should look at it in a way of like
positivity.
Yeah. And in those moments where you feel like you're going down a rabbit hole, like snap back. Like, listen, I could have never met these people. I could have never found out. I could have always been asking questions and been confused and not got nothing back from Ancestry. Yeah. Could have been, could have been all of that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But you got this experience, and you got to come and visit us in the process.
Yeah. And Christmas time, which is
great. And during Christmas, right?
Christmas is great.
He's been hopping from state to state on every plane you could think of, running around everything. And so
trains, planes, and automobiles.
Literally. My goodness.
I haven't been on a boat though, which I'm very disappointed.
Are you?
Not really.
You could have got on the ferry to Staten Island.
No, I'm not going there. Not even Staten Island. There's a reason why it's free. Stop it, no. All people who are watching from Staten Island, anyway.
But yeah, so I think that my father's story is an amazing, crazy, emotional story to tell, but something that needed to be told. And I thank you for telling us about your experiences, talking about how you grew up and things of that nature, because, it could be, I don't want to say there's trauma involved in all of our lives. And I know that you've had traumatic experiences, and even your father passing away, that was you saying that was like the turn of everything.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad you were able to make it to this point.
Well, life is like I tell everyone, life is about choices. Mm-hmm. And I could have gone either way, but I chose to go the way that's a little bit more honest, and I don't have to look behind my back.
Yeah.
Growing up in the 70s in Harlem was not easy. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stuff going on. And the easy way would have been just, I could have been out there selling drugs, making money. But I probably wouldn't I lived to be 62.
This is true.
There's a lot of guys I know are not around because they took the wrong path.
Yeah.
So you take the path less less taken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, don't. There is a possibility that there's a story out there, and we're trying to work on the development of say screenplay or a script, a movie.
Listen, share this.
Michael,
share his story. What happened?
Yeah. I'm just saying. Who's going to star me? It was my twin, my doppelganger. What's his name?
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael G. Jordan, which is you can look and see. It's pretty much a no-brainer that he would take my spot. And who play you?
This is delusion. You understand? This is delusion. Okay.
And you could be played by who could play you? I'm thinking maybe
Keke
Beyonce,
Palmer.
maybe. Huh?
Keke Palmer.
Keke Palmer. Okay, Keke Palmer. Yeah.
I'll take
That's
Keke.
it.
But yeah, guys, listen. Share this. Like, comment, ask whatever questions you may have. We might have the answers. We might not. But I want to thank you guys for taking this time just to hear my father's story and watch my channel. And yeah, we're hoping that in a few weeks, in a few days, we're getting some phone calls, all right, for some interviews. But if not, at the end of the day, we're just happy that we came to this point of having a father side of the family and him being able to interact with his siblings. So thank you guys again. Thank you, Father, again. Okay. Thank you, Daddy. All right. See you guys.